All right, so very high level here. So We Network was created since 2019, at the end of 2019. And the goal of this organization basically is we noticed that there are a lot of African organizations within the Twin City in Minnesota, but they operate in silos, right? And we also noticed that there was no mentorship that we can. If you wanted a mentor, for example, you couldn't really find any mentor easily. So we thought that, okay, how about we create an organization? Not only it will be the bridge among all those organizations, but also we can share knowledge because at the end of the day, we are better together, right? You can be the director or whatever, but if you don't have any mentor, it's really hard, for you to get what you want to be, right? And we started having like meetings, with all these folks that are part of We Network now, and we also did a survey to see, hey, what would you like to see in our organization, right? And so We Network now was a byproduct of those interviews, of those intimate, one-on-one interview with the current members, right? So the photo that you're seeing right now, it was our pre-launch day back in January of 2020, and We Know What is represented by everybody, by from Africa, East, West, and that's something that we pride ourselves in. Right? It's not only an organization that belongs to one religion or belongs to one country in Africa. It's actually for everyone. Africans, people of African descent. Now that takes us to our mission here. Our mission is to connect professionals of African descent to opportunity and demystify and personal success. And the way we do this is by organizing events such as this, right? Because there's one thing to be educated, but there's another thing to know about the system, right? And so we noticed that, well, you can have a PhD or whatever, but if you don't have a knowledge of money, how money works, probably will be really hard for you to get ahead. Or if you don't know how to buy your first house, right? And so that was the whole goal of this organization. And we have been really successful in doing that. Our last event, we were really lucky to have recruiters from Target to come and talk to us about how to build your resume, how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to have an interview. And as a matter of fact, we have another workshop coming up for some organization within the Twin City. And I'll talk to you guys about that in a second. So, vision, we would like to bridge the gap among professionals from African descent, right? And the way we do this is to organize networking events such as this, right? So, network event is not necessarily like what we're doing right now. It's just to have a speaker, but also to get to know each other, right? If you remember earlier, I was asking people, hey, how do you hear about us, right? Because you are always that one step away or to get that information you need in order to, to better yourself, right? Or you are only that one person away, right? Whether that be a mentor, whether that be, a friend, so we really believe in networking and also collaboration, right? So you have people that have great ideas, right? Like We Network now, right? But that great ideas only can come fruition if it is a collaboration, right? So we want to get people together so they can share ideas, but they also can collaborate with one another. If you are working on a business, or if you are working on a paper that you wish to publish, right? So you can reach out to somebody that has the same idea, and you guys can collaborate, right? And we also believe in innovation, right? So, and that will take me to our value here. We believe in connection, like I said, we believe in collaboration. We also believe in celebration, right? And celebration, that basically means if somebody graduates from, school, we would like to celebrate that person. If somebody has a new job, we would like to celebrate that person, right? And that takes me to our programs here. I talked about network events. We have many of these network events prior to COVID. It's a place where we get together, have meal and have drinks and then start talking, start networking with one another, right? So we have workshops. I talked to you guys. We have already two or three workshops in the past, and they were really successful. And it was a place where we had some trainers that came and talked to us about their expertise. And I talked to you about it. We were lucky to have recruiters from Target that did just that. And we have webinars, so webinar like this, right? I remember our first webinar was in the middle of the pandemic back in April, I believe, or March of 2020, we had a speaker, right? A motivational speaker, because we thought that perhaps people are sitting at home right now stressed. It was good to give a jump start for people's spirits, right? So we were really lucky to have a motivational speaker to come talk to us. And that would take me here to our podcasting. So basically, the whole idea of podcasting to make sure that we share our idea, because you will be really, I was really really that how you call it, I noticed at least that we don't really know about each other's culture. And when I say we, I mean Africans, right? So how about we use the podcasting medium to tell our stories? Like, for example, hey, well, how did you grow up? What country are you from? Like, what food do you guys eat, right? And that's a way of make sure to bring us together, because if you don't know about somebody, it's really really hard to connect with that person, right? But if you know about their culture, where they are from, it will be a lot easier to to connect with that person. Um, Mentorship, this is my favorite one, because I believe that everyone needs a mentor, right? And what is a life mentor? What is a professional mentor? You need somebody, especially in this world where things are moving so fast, information is moving so fast. You need somebody to really really coach you in a specific field. And this, I really really believe this since I was like little. I believe in mentorship. And we are really, really lucky that we have a mentorship program where we are mentoring people, and I will get to that in a second here. Our success story, we are registered 501c, meaning that you can donate to us and then write that on your taxes, which is really good. And we are already 5 networking events where we're able to connect people. People were able to make friendship, where people were able to talk about potential businesses. And to me, that makes me happy, because there's no way you can quantify that, right? And we also had webinars, such as this webinar right now. We had 2 workshops. We're going to be having more. And we have recruited 6 mentors. And these people are doing this for free. And that's what excites me about, life, right? That we have people that are willing to give uh, their knowledge and also their time in order to make a difference in somebody's life. We all have 100 plus hours of mentorship sections. We already had the one corporate sponsorship and 2 nonprofit partnership. And mind you, guys, we have been in place a little over a year, and to say that we're able to get to this level, to me, that's very impressive. But it also speaks to the tenacity of the board members, and also all of the staff that have really, really contributed their time and their effort in order to make this happen. And I'm really, really grateful for all of them, right? And our strategy goal, we're gonna raise $30,000. We are we are on our way, and we wanna organize donor events. I'm gonna let somebody eat here. Voila. There we go. Donor events, and we would like to recruit 50 mentors. We would like to mentor 30 mentees. We would like to reach at least 1,000 members, right? And then we would like to have 3 more corporate sponsorships. So you can find us on these sites with LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's where we have our recording. So in case if you want to go back to this recording, you can go to our YouTube channel, right? And then we have a website as well that you wish to, if you want to register for to be a member. By the way, everything that I talked to you about is free. Membership is free. If you wish to be a mentee or mentor, you can go there, and sign up as well. Upcoming event now, we have a graduation month fair that's coming up, meaning that we would like to connect our graduates to corporations, and that's coming up. And hopefully that's going to be on the 15th. We are working on logistic right now, and then we have a workshop that's coming up, career fair. We have not really selected a date yet. That's going to be where we're going to have some of our corporates America here in the Twin City. I'm talking about maybe 3 or 4. And then where we're going to have potential job seekers, talking to them about their career. And so we are very excited about that. With that, I'm going to hand it to our moderator, Ewa, which is one of our board members as well, as I said at the beginning. Ewa, take it away.
All right, thanks, Comedy. So if you guys want to check us out or learn more about us, tap into those social medias and connect with us. All right, so for today, I have the pleasure to introduce one of my good friends and an advisor. Just a little quick story about how I met Muchi. I met him during my freshman year, playing college football. And, if you were on that team, you had to know Muchi, man. He's one of the high character, high energy, high spirited dudes I know. And, he's the type of guy, you want to be around and have as a friend. So career-wise, for now, he's been, helping families and friends really understand money and understand their finances and just understanding all these other financial products that are out there. And I personally have definitely benefited from his years of wisdom to me and just guidance in terms of that finance. So, without further ado, the man of the hour, Muajtsim Vang, take the floor. The floor is all yours.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here.
All right.
Well, thanks, Awa, for the awesome introduction, man. I miss those football days. Just first of all, I just want to thank Memedy and Awa for you guys to kind of invite me to share my financial knowledge to the community. Quick brief, just a little bit more about me is, my dad, I'm Hmong, so we came as an immigrant group after the Vietnam War. And my dad came to the United States, not knowing English or anything. And he realized that, in the United States, there's something called economics and investments. And he started watching people and seeing that some people are actually making their money work for them. Mm-hmm. And they're actually living a different life than somebody going from hour to hour trying to make a living. And so he wanted to get to basically a place where he could actually understand this knowledge. And so that's kind of how he started with the financial business, in the financial industry. And I basically kind of grew up in there. And when I was growing up, my dad was successful applying the financial concepts that, I am excited to share with you guys today. And it's changed my life. It's definitely changed my life. Well, just a quick example how my family applied it. I went to Northwestern College with AWA. That's a private school, right? It's not cheap, And I graduated with only $4,000 in debt, college debt, and that was because I decided to dorm. So that's how much I had to pay my dorming costs. But other than that, everything was paid for because my dad already set up some college savings and everything. So it's tools that is out there, but we're not really taught that it is out there. And so that's a brief introduction of myself. Today's not about me, right? Today's not about me, right? Today's about how money works. So just a few questions that I want you guys kind of think about as we go through this is, number one is, do you know your financial independence number? And what that is, and I'll go through it during the presentation too, what that number is basically the amount of money that you would need to have in order to retire the way you want to retire. All right? Number two is, how well do you know your budget? Do you know what comes in and what comes out? And number three is, what financial tools or products do you have, and do you know how they benefit you? Or the other way, right? Like credit cards, right? So, further ado, let's jump in there. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how money works, guys? A common sense solution to financial success. One of the main thing is we want to talk about is taking control. You want to take control of your finances. You want to, first of all, pay yourself first. One of the biggest questions is, how many people are actually paying themselves first? You gotta set basically a bill that has your name on it, and you pay it to yourself. Because the thing is, if you don't, you're constantly paying your bills, your credit cards, your debt, right? And so therefore, 10, 20 years later, you actually haven't accumulated any cash. You make all this money, but you're not accumulating anything. Number two is adjust your priorities. It kind of comes down to what is needed and what do you want, right? Most of the time we buy what we want and not what we need. Number three is changing the way you think. And that kind of comes right back to the priorities part and adjusting your lifestyle. Sometimes we try to live like someone else. We try to impress others. And one thing we say in the business is that, we try to impress people who we don't really like and we don't really know. But we spend so much money trying to impress them, right? Number five is if you can't earn extra income, There's a lot of part-time stuff that you can do, earn some extra income so you can actually invest more money, so as to set yourself up for financial success if your current job is not paying you enough. Number 6 is avoid the credit trap. Understand the credit game, and also understand how the interest rates affect you or benefit you. All right. And number 7 is you got to have goals and a plan. Most of us who don't have a goal never achieve anything, right? And so the thing is, you got to think about what you want in life and have a plan to get there. So first step is basically looking at the things that you can't control, right? You guys ever hear that saying that says, worry about what you can't control, not what you can't control? And so the thing is, most of the time when you turn on the news, you're watching things that you can't control, right? And so what's going on is, you cannot control, the future of Social Security. It's said up there that Social Security, if you are under age of 35, Social Security, or even 40, Social Security is never going to be there for you. So we can't control that. You can't control how much money your employer is going to pay you, right? I mean, if we do, then it'd be really nice. You can't control the taxes. Can't control inflation. Inflation rises at an average of 3% every year. Raising costs, you can't control that. And then, you can't control the risk of a single investment. And I'll just throw that out there, with the GameStop, the craziness of GameStop going on the last few months here. You can't control that, right? It went up, went down, went up, went down. So the thing is, don't worry about what you can't control. But the thing is, just worry about what you can. So you can control the saving for your retirement. You can control how much money you put aside for that. You control other sources of income. You control ways that you can reduce your tax. And remember that you actually were just talking about that. Donating, right? Donating to the organization. You can and then you can deduct taxes. That's one good way. I love doing that, because the thing is, I'd rather have my money go to something that I believe in, and rather just going to Uncle Sam that they really don't do much with their money anyways, right? And maximize your savings, saving more, and also diversifying your investment choices. So if one part of the industry, so for example, if you're in the entertainment industry and it goes down, but you have some money in the healthcare industry and it goes up, then right there you got diversification. Your investment is actually at a more balanced than just buying one stock and hoping that stock goes up. So going back to this, paying yourself first. You got to set a bill that has your name on it, right? And the thing is, if I ask this question, who would you rather pay first? Yourself or Comcast or Xcel Energy, right? Definitely want to pay yourself, right? So definitely pay yourself first. That's got to be a priority, so that you can actually set yourself up for financial independence and to reach your financial goals. And it's not about what you earn; it's all about what you keep. So this is and then you guys can take a screenshot of this or take a picture. Basically, if you put this together, it shows you how much money of the money you take home are you actually putting away. And most experts says that you want to actually put at least 10% away to reach your financial goals and dreams. So the question is, are you putting 10% away, right? And if not, what are some things that you can change to get there, right? And I understand sometimes it's all based upon different lifestyles and where you're at right now. But there's some things you can change, some things you can't change. But that's the goal, is to get to at least a 10% investment. Put 10% of what you bring home away, so that you can actually set yourself up. So one of the questions I had you guys thinking about earlier was, do you know your financial dependence number? And if you haven't heard of this, it's okay. I didn't even hear about it too. I mean, we went to business school, finance school, and we never really talked about this. I didn't even hear about it until I was in the business and started educating families on this. And basically what the number represents is the amount of money that you need to have in order to retire. So an example is this. If you want to retire and have $30,000 come to you every single year, right? So in 30 years, if you want that money, that $30,000 to come to you every single year, now we gotta calculate for inflation. 30 years from now, $30,000 is not going to spend like $30,000. you got to have $73,000 in order to live that $30,000 lifestyle, right? And that's something that not a lot of us kind of think about, right? Because as gas prices raise up, we're just like, it's because of this and this that gas price raise up. It's because cost of living, with everything that's changing in our economy, and as supply and demand happens, and inflation is always going to rise, and if inflation rises, $30,000 is definitely not going to spend like $30,000 in the future. So, in this calculation, that FIN number is going to be $1 million. So, in order to get to $1 million, then here, in this example, you got to invest $585 per month for 30 years at 9% return average, and then we'll get you to $1 million. So, going back to the 10%, is, can you put 10% of, so basically if your 10% is $500, can you put that away? If you can't put that away, then you kind of set yourself up to retire in 30 years. But if you can't put that away, then it's kind of going down to your budget, and adjusting some priority, what's needed and what's not, and what's a want and what's a need to set yourself up for that. So the question we always ask is, how important is it to know your financial independence number? Right, on the scale from 1 to 10, how important is it? And it definitely a 10, right? Because you gotta have a goal, you gotta know where you're going, right? So just a quick, and this is not the actual detailed part of the calculated financial independence number, but this is a quick equation that you can use to kind of see, because it's not accounting for taxes or what amount you already have saved up. Or for example, if you take your retirement income goal and divide it by the withdrawal percentage. So in my example here, I said if I wanted $50,000 coming to me every single year, and I'm gonna withdraw 4% of it, then my FIN number is approximately 1.2 mil, right? And that's an approximate number. It's not the actual financial independence number, because we haven't accounted for how many years it's gonna take, or how many years I'm gonna stay in retirement. All of those variables play a role in calculating the actual financial independence number. But this is a quick example that you guys can use right now to kind of figure out where you're at, and then we kind of should go deeper into it and figure out what your actual independence number is. So there are three. So basically, when it comes down to investing, there are three accounts that we always talk about here, and it's an emergency fund. First one is emergency fund, because most of the time, when you need money, most people that I've seen and I've helped is they have a thing called a credit card, right? They swipe that card and they pay it back. But then when you pay it back, how much interest rate are you paying back? Right now, I'm seeing credit cards with 22 to 30% return. I mean, not return, but 30% interest, which is scary. And so the thing, the concept of having an emergency fund is you putting money aside, and then when there's an emergency, for example, flat tire, you gotta buy tires for $500. You borrow that money from yourself, and then you pay yourself back. So you borrow that $500 and you put that $500 back. There's no interest rates in between, so you're not getting extra charges or anything towards just an emergency. And so the concept of emergency fund is about 2 to 3 months of your take-home income. So, for example, if you make $2,000 a month, you wouldn't want that emergency fund to actually have $6,000 in there, right? And so short-term savings is a savings where I also like to call it a fund savings, because it's if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy an RV, or just things that you want to buy it's money that you can't just cash out today. You actually plan for it. You save up and to purchase that product or item or equipment that you want. And number 3 is long-term savings. That's wealth building. It's about investments. So the third account is basically IRAs, Roth IRAs, or if you're at work, you got 401k. It's kind of putting money into those accounts and understanding how that works for you. So if you have these 3 accounts set up, you are on track to becoming financially independent from basically credit cards and the banks. Because again, if there's an emergency, you borrow from yourself. right? And if you want to buy a house, and Mamadi, you were kind of talking about that, right? When you're going to buy a house, you have the down payment, you have the money to purchase that home. So you're not going through a bunch of paperwork and headache of trying to purchase a house that you like. And I have an example of that. Me and my wife, we actually just purchased a house, and we put money away for that in our short-term savings account. So when it came down to us purchasing a house, the process was super simple and easy because we've been putting that money aside. And and the thing is that the bank loves you when you have money on the side. You have cash. I tell you that, right? So these are the three accounts. Use time and consistency. One thing they talk about, one thing we talk about, the industry talks about, is time value money, right? You guys ever heard that saying that time is money, right? And when I first heard it, I always thought about going to work, right? Oh yeah, you gotta work 8 hours and get paid for those hours. But then now that I understand more of the financial industry, it's more about your money and working the time, working 24/7. So the more money you have, and the more time you have, the more money your money will grow. So it pays to start investment early. So here's an example. So if you put a one-time investment of $1,000 with a 9% return rate, at birth, that $1,000 to age 67 will grow to $406,000. Ain't that something? Crazy, right? And at age 16, if you put $1,000 away and you don't put any more money in, you just let that money grow, from 16 to age 67, that $1,000 will grow to $96,000. And if you wait till you're age 40 and you put that $1,000 away, by age from 40 to 67, that $1,000 will grow to $11,000. You guys see the huge difference of time? Right? And so the more time you have, that $1,000 will actually be more impactful. And here I got some more examples here. So if the goal is to save $500,000 for retirement at age 67, just look at the difference of what you have to put away. If you want to start at age 25, you only have to put $89 a month. If you're 25-year-old and you're saying, you know what, I'm too young to think about retirement, I'll wait, and you wait 10 years, you actually would have to put $224 a month. Right? And if you just wait another 10 years, say, you know what, I don't want to put money away yet, and you wait till age 45, that's $602. And you guys can see the trend, right? The longer you wait, the more money you have to put away in order to get to that goal. Age 55, that's $1,900. I mean, who's got $1,900 sitting on the side to put away, right? That money needs to go pay for our bills, right? So it gets harder and harder the longer you wait. And the sooner you begin, going back to that, the sooner you begin, the greater the growth. So the high cost of wait. So basically, at age 25, you just put $100 away. From 25 to 67, that's $566 at 9% return. And I'm not going to go through all the numbers because I know you guys can see it. But as you guys can see, I mean, it's the cost of waiting is huge, right? So most people ask me, what's the best time to invest? And I would say now. If you haven't invested, now is the time, right? But the greatest time to invest is that day when you were born and you first got your Social Security, and then you put money away. But how can you put money away when you were just born, right? And so that's the thing. Where I have a 1-year-old now, and my baby was born last year. And when we got that Social Security, I opened an account for her right away. And because I wanted to set her up. I'm like, you are going to be a millionaire by age 35. I'm going to make this happen. And it was because of her deciding, but it's because her dad decided to take control and said, no, you're going to be financially independent. And I'm going to put this money away. And it also goes back to some of the topics, some of the 7 principles before is, taking control. I wanted to take control of my child's financial future. And so therefore I put that money away instead of, you know what, I'm going to go buy, a car or anything. I'm like, no, I'm going to put this money away for my child for the future. So the power of compound interest. This is huge. We always hear about compounding. Money compounds, interest rates and everything, right? But the thing is, to see it happen, this is huge. I'm actually going to skip this side, and we're going to jump right into the Rule 72 to show you guys the impact of it. So the Rule 72 is basically you take 72 and divide it by the interest rate that you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to give you the approximate years that your money is going to double. All right. So let's start with the 3%. Let's say we're getting 3% at the bank, and we put $10,000 away, right? 3%, 72 divided by 3% is 24. So every 24 years, that money is going to double. So I can see at $10,000, 24 years later, it goes to 20,000. 24 years later, after that, it goes to 40. Exciting, right? I mean, I don't know if are you guys excited knowing that you got 40,000? You got basically, $30,000 extra after 48 years. That's exciting, right? That's more money than you started with, but that's nothing compared to what you will see if you get 12%, right? And so we're just gonna skip the 6%. We're gonna jump right to the 12%. If you follow the 12%, 72 divided by 12% is 6 years. Every 6 years, your money doubles. And let's just jump to 48. The same amount, 48 years. How much is that? $2.5 million. Same year. 48 years. Right? So this is the difference. This is the big impact right here. So throughout what we go through today, all the information we go through today, this is the concept I want you guys to go and get out of this presentation. Is the Rule 72. Is if you get 12% and 48 years later you get 2.5 million compared to a 3%. So right now, think about it. How many people do you know are getting 3%? Are you getting 3%? Right? We're not even, right? If we put our money in the savings account, the banks, we're not seeing 3%. So we're getting less than that. Our money is definitely not doubling there. But the thing is, if you can find a investment tool that gets you at least close to 12%, in the future, your life is totally different financially. Huge difference. This is kind of the difference between the wealthy, the middle class, and then what's the lower class, right? This is the huge difference right there. And the cool part is, in order to apply this concept, they don't care what class you start at. They don't care what class you start at. My dad started in the lower class, and now we're sitting at 12%. And so that's the power of the Rule 72. Once you understand this rule and you know how to apply it, I mean, it makes a huge difference in your life. Albert Einstein says compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. And so the scary part too is the Rule 72, compound interest can work for your benefit, and it can also work against your benefit. And how it works against your benefit is if you go back and look at all your loans and your credit card bills and everything, right? When they give you the interest rate, now check that out. Now apply the Rule 72. Whatever interest rate they're charging you, apply that back to yourself, against yourself. Now that's the interest you're paying. Scary, right? So the importance of rate of return. One time, again, we're hitting the interest rate. We're hitting this concept part because I want you guys to understand that the goal is to get a higher average of interest rate so that you can actually benefit your portfolio and your investments will actually compound and grow for you. So a one-time investment of $1,000 invested at 3, 6, or 9% return. You guys can see the difference right there. Huge, right? The difference. And that's a huge impact for your future, for your financial future. So how doubling your interest can quadruple your savings? Most people think doubling, like 2 equals 4, right? You double 2 equals 4, you double 4 equals 8. But when we're talking about compound interest, the doubling of your interest is a huge difference. So as you guys can see, the red line is 4.5%, and the blue line is 9%. We're just doubling the interest, and that's almost a $600,000 difference, right? That wasn't double. Right? It was, if double, it would have been like close to $350,000, but it's not. It's about $400,000 difference right there. So it costs to double. It benefits you to find an interest rate that actually is more than what you're getting. So one of the key about financial independence is knowing what money comes in and what goes out. So that's why we want to talk about debt. Most people, when we pay our debt, we pay whatever bill comes in first. So I'm just gonna skip this side. We're gonna go right into this part. So the debt stacking concept. If you guys ever heard of debt stacking, it's also sometimes called snowballing. And so basically what it is just organizing your debt according to the principal and interest of what's coming in, and not paying your debt based upon what comes in first, or whatever comes in the mail or such like that. But actually organizing your debt and say, okay, so we're going to pay our debt according to this strategy. So credit card 1, credit card 2, car loan, credit card 1, and mortgage, right? And so the thing about this is the $2,700 down there is, in this example, what this family's paying monthly for their debt. Most of us, whenever we get a debt paid off, what do we do with that extra money, right? We spend it, right? We go, hey, okay, cool. We got this credit card paid off. Let's now we have $200 freed up. But in this debt stacking concept, it says, no, you're already budgeting $2,700 to pay your debt. Keep that budget. Control that budget. You're used to it. Keep it going. Keep that fixed. So that when you get credit card 1 paid off, you just roll that extra money, at $220, over to the next card. So you'll actually pay that card faster. You're touching the principal more of the principal, and you're not just paying the interest, right? And so it's that simple. So you just keep rolling it over. And then pretty soon you're paying your full mortgage at $2,700 and not just $200 or $1,200, right? So with that, you didn't put, and this is one thing I love the most, is you didn't put a penny more to pay your debt. You just organize your debt, you took control of your debt, and you say, you know what, I'm going to pay this, and I'm going to pay that, and I'm going to pay this, according to what I can do. This is the difference. Without debt stacking, in that example, it would have been 23 years for that family to pay off all their debt. Paid interest about $214,000. With debt stacking, if you apply that debt stacking concept, you would have paid that debt in 9 years, 14 years sooner, saving $130,000 in interest, and monthly payments is the same. No difference. Not a penny more. By just applying that concept. This blows me away. This is why I get so excited to share with families this concept and helping them apply it, because it's powerful. I mean, when you're debt free, it's a good feeling, right? When you wake up and you know that you don't owe anybody no money, and all you got is money that has your name on it. It's a really good feeling. Really good feeling. So avoid the common credit card mistakes. Not valuing your credit card. You're valuing your credit. Right now we live in the credit game. Whenever you want to buy a house or anything, you got to value your credit game. And by just doing the debt stacking concept, your credit score is probably going to be pretty high, because you're getting all your debt paid off and you're on track. Number 2 is raising your credit card limits. Credit card companies love calling you and say, hey, you know what, you've been approved for $10,000 without you even asking, right? And did you even ask for that more money, or they just sent you a notice, hey, we're gonna approve you now, spend more money so we can charge you more, basically. So avoid that. If you don't need it, you don't need it, right? If you don't need that extra money, you don't need it. So don't fall into the trap. It's all a marketing trap right there for you to get you to spend more so they can charge you more. Number 3 is not monitoring your credit history. A lot of us, we never check a credit history, and then when we do, we get surprised, right? We're like, oh man, what the heck? Somebody stole my social security information. Somebody got this. Somebody opened an account like across the country in my name. What the heck is going on? So the thing is, definitely keep an eye on that credit history. Keep an eye on it, because especially with fraud going on too, is you don't want to be a victim of fraud. Not monitoring your credit score. You want to know where your credit score is, so that you actually know how to play the game. For sports, for example, if you're playing, I'm a football player, so I'm going to talk about football. If I'm playing football and it's third quarter, the game was almost done, and I never kept an eye on the score, I don't know who's winning or not, right? So how hard am I going to play? I'm just going to walk up there and jog around, right? But the thing is, I know that we're down by three points, and we need to score a touchdown. I'm intensifying my efforts. I'm going to run harder. I'm going to play harder. I know. So the thing is, it's good to know your score, so you know how to play the game, so you know what you need to do, and then you can go more aggressive one way, or you can go more aggressive the other way. So you actually, know where you're at. Number 5 is not knowing your interest rate of fees. You got to know how much you're paying to borrow that money. Credit card is all about borrowing money from the bank, and they charge you. And these fees are ridiculous, and the interest rates are ridiculous that they charge you. So you gotta know that. You gotta know how much. If you went out there and bought Starbucks with a credit card, that $5 coffee is not $5. It's like $20 coffee. So you gotta know how much they're charging you, right?
Hey, Mushi, I just want to make sure this is great. So I wanted to let you. We have 11 minutes left here, so we want to have some time for question. But this is great. Awesome.
Okay. Yep. And so since we're short of time, I'm just gonna jump right into we'll jump right to this slide and what ended right here. Okay, so coming back to time value money, I want to show you guys the impact of this. All right. So if you started at age 22 and invested $5,500 a year, right? And at age 29, you stopped. You say, okay, I don't want to invest anymore. I want to take a break from putting money away, and I'm just let that money sit. At age 29, you had $67,000 that you invested. To age 67, that $67,000 would have grown to $2 million. Right? So again, remember, this is time value money. So individual B, on the other hand, says, I'm 22. I don't want to think about investments. I'm going to wait till I hit 30. I'm going to wait till I get a good paying job, and then I'll start investing. I'll put money away. So they started at age 30, and then they started maximizing the IRAs and putting $5,500 away. And then they do it every single year until 37 to 66, so basically the next 37 years, they maximize the IRA. Their account is going to be at 1.8 million. So what is the big difference? The individual B has invested more money, right? Put more money away on the side than individual A, because they contributed $209,000 compared to individual A who put $44,000. But how is it that individual A has more money at the end at the age of 67 than individual B, right? And that's time. It's time. It's always the best time is now. The best time to invest is now. The best time to invest is as early as you can, because time works with money. Rule 72. Individual A had more time for that compound, that Rule 72, to work for their benefit, while individual B lost those years because they decided not to invest. So at the end of the day, if you start early, you're gonna win the game. It's never too late, but it's always better when you start early. So to end that, I know because we're running out of time. But to end that, I just want to throw this out there and say, you gotta win the financial war, and that's the result of your tiny day-to-day battles. So you gotta make war with those battles financially, saying, is that cup of coffee worth it? Or should I just make coffee at home? That $5, you're thinking about, $5 at Starbucks a day, multiply that 5 days a week, that's what, $25? That's $200 right there, And if we think about back to some of the slides I shared earlier, and you put $200 away a month instead of buying coffee for the next 30 years, I mean, how much do you have at 9% return, right? So just those small day-to-day battles, you can win. You can win the financial game, and you can set yourself up for financial independence. All right.
Thank Thank you, man. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this presentation. I mean, it's at least been 20 times, and it still blows me away, gets me excited, gets me motivated. And I know there's more things we didn't cover, but for you guys on the call, we'll send out a short survey at the end. I'm kind of highlight some of the other financial knowledge that Muchi has, and based on the survey results, we'll choose that topic, and then one of these days we'll host it. But since we're kind of at the end, we might be a little over time, but I'll open the floor to questions if you guys may have. You can just unmute yourself, and Muchi can answer your questions. One at a time.
Hey, this is Midu. I have a question actually. Like for people not really familiar with the financial industry and not what's the best way to search and find an investment like a bank to invest your money and to put your money into that bank? Like, you said like the difference between 3, 6, and 9%. Is it like, when you search on the internet, it's too broad, but like if you just like have an advice, or if you have like a specific website we can use, that we can use.
Yeah.
Yep. So to invest, the banks, the thing is, banks won't give you like the 9% or 6%. I mean, when you go to the bank, they usually give CDs and such. And so one thing you could definitely look at is, I don't really have a website that you go to, but then one thing you could look at is just one thing I do, and I teach people to apply, is the mutual, and we kind of ran out of time, so I didn't go into detail about that, but it's like mutual funds. Mutual funds is like it's a tool where it allows individuals like us, like you say, somebody who doesn't know too much about the financial world to invest in. And what a mutual fund is, it's a fund that's pooled with a lot of people's money together, and it buys stocks. So it buys stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and so you put money into that mutual fund, and it actually invests in all these stocks for you, so that it's actually professionally managed also too, and so that it actually gives you the benefit as an individual investor who doesn't have the time to do a lot of homework or anything to invest in individual stocks and such, to actually still win in the investment game. And so one thing you could do is just search up mutual funds, and look at the industry, because there's like thousands of mutual funds. So you can search up, you can just do a quick Google search of what mutual funds, what returns are there in the mutual fund, and what kind of industry you're looking at. Yeah. So that's one thing you can look into right there too. And and if that's a topic you want to really get into, like Awad said, if you guys want to know more about what financial products and tools that is out there, then we can definitely do a webinar, because that's going to take another whole hour too, talking about all the different types of products and everything. Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, to add a little bit to that, Muchi, banks take our money and invest it into the Apple, into whatever, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's how they make their money. So,
yeah. So going back, if you remember that Rule 72, that 3%, like banks is giving you 3%, and they're making 12%. So, yeah.
Crooks.
Yes, hi. This is Ken. I'm from Milwaukee.
Hi.
I thought your presentation was very, very good. One thing that you said that really kind of connected with me is debt stacking. Financially, I'm pretty good. I'm usually kind of frugal type of guy. I paid off my student debt. My car payment is done. We just bought a house. Financially, we're comfortable. One thing I'm very I have hanging over me is when I was in college, I didn't have insurance. And I have this medical debt that is hanging over me. I tried calling them maybe 2 years ago to make a one-time payment. And I was willing to pay like 60% of it right out the gate just to get it over with. And they refused to take it. And and that's so, now I don't even know where my debt is because it's been sold from companies to companies. And because I was going to buy a house, I was kind of scared to contact them, because I don't know what that would do to my credit, once they start reporting it again. So I was just wondering, like, do you know a way that I can go about, starting to deal with it? Because that's pretty much the only debt I'm not taking care of.
Okay. So to answer that question, are they picking up your phone? Are you able to call them and talk to them? Or do you know?
I can find out who they were maybe 3 or 4 years ago, because something I found out is that if they don't report to the credit bureau, there's a way to send emails to all the 3 companies, TransUnion, Equifax, and the other one, and Experian. There's a way to send a letter to them, a written letter, where they can actually drop everything that hasn't been reported to the credit bureau within 2 months. And then when I did that, they completely removed everything off my report. So my credit score is great. But I'm kind of worried as soon as they they come back to me, my credit score will drop.
Yeah, right.
So I'm kind of So I'm kind of looking for a way to. I mean, I can, because I have all my reports from the past 7 years, so I can find who they were 7 years ago or 4 years ago. But I can't really guarantee that they didn't sell it off to somebody else.
Yeah, that's one of the things about those some of those debt right there, because they keep selling it off. And so one thing I would say is try to get trying to figure out what company has your debt now, and basically try to get a hold of them and talk with them kind of how you can go about getting it cleared up. With how I used to deal with it was we had this company we work with where we don't work with it anymore, but then we had is like a law firm, and they would actually call the creditors for the clients, and they would converse with the creditors and say, hey, and they kind of make a negotiation with the creditors saying, hey, our client's willing to pay this if you guys, because the thing is, in the end of the day, they want some money, because if not, then they're not going to see any money, right? And so that there's I don't have a company at the top of my head right now for you to call and look into that. But then that was one route I understood what was happening. It was clients were calling, and I think it was Answer. I forgot what the company was called. It was we were working with them, and so yeah, they were negotiating and clearing out debt.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for, because when I tried to deal with them directly, I offered to pay 60% of the debt cash, and they refused. And I was like, I'd rather maybe, I was looking for information for somebody who knows, and I need a company who knows how to deal with these people, because frankly, I may not have the patience for it, and I don't have the technique, to kind of bring that payment down. So, I was hoping to maybe get a little more info.
Well, let me look into it, see if I can find that company that we're working with, because I know they're still around. We're just Primerica. We're just not working with them anymore. And so let me look into it. I'll let Awa. I'll send it to Awa, and he can forward it to you.
Okay. I really appreciate that.
And Awa, once you get the information, just let me know. Ken is a friend of mine, so I will make sure that he gets the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. No, this is very good. This is very good information. Thank you, Awa, for setting this, and thank you, Mushi, for spending your time with us. I know, this is free. Thank you so much for this. And by the way, I would like to let our attendees know this is not one size fits all. There's some of the information here that you already, you are good at. There's some information might not actually applies to you. But these things are meant to make sure to disrupt your thinking. What you have been thinking, those are, already it's a status quo thinking. And you can start. It's not because we had this event, tomorrow you're going to be a millionaire or tomorrow you pay your debt off. That's not the case. It's to make sure that you get some good information about this, and then you go home and start thinking about, oh, I didn't know about that. Now, let me start thinking about paying my debt off. Let me start thinking about my retirement plan. So that's the purpose of this. And also, I would like to add, Mushi didn't do this for us to be his client. He did this because he's a good friend of Awat's, and he wanted just to share his information since he has that immigration history and he knows how hard it can be, right? And so that's the purpose of this. I just want to make sure that people are aware of that. So thank you. Any other question before maybe 2 more minutes? If anyone has any more questions?
Yeah.
All right. Ewa, do you have any closing comments?
No. We'll send out the survey, and then just give us your response, and then we'll hope to host one of these again and go more in depth in some of these other financial products. But with that, thanks everyone for joining. And yeah, again, look out for that survey. And Mushi, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Thank you, Mushi.
All right. Thank you, guys.